We are counting down the top 10 bourbons you need to find before they become the next nearly impossible bottles on the shelf. This ranking reveals which releases just won major 2025 awards or are poised to turn from overlooked sleepers into allocated unicorns, thanks to shifting market demand. From age-stated revivals to craft distillery game-changers, each entry raises the stakes for smart collectors who want legendary pours at retail prices. Which bourbon tops the must-hunt list this year? Let us kick things off with number 10. Jack Daniel's 14-year Tennessee whiskey lands at number 10, and for good reason. This is not the bottle you remember from college parties or late-night bar runs. Aging whiskey for 14 years in Tennessee's relentless heat was once considered a losing battle. Barrels evaporate, flavors turn sharp, and most distillers would have given up long before. But this release flips that script. Gone is the familiar banana runt note that follows the classic black label. Instead, the glass fills with heavy molasses, charred oak, dark cherry, and a leather richness that stands up to some of Scotland's oldest single malts. Most stores don't put this bottle out front. It is often hidden behind the counter or bundled with a cheaper Jack variant, waiting for someone who knows what to ask for. If you spot it at retail, don't hesitate. This is Jack Daniel's proving it can play in the big leagues, with no mixers required, just patience and a sharp eye. A. Smith Bowman. Cask Strength. Batch 4 sits at number 9 for those who want more than just hype. This is not a bottle you will stumble across on a random store shelf. Most states release it through strict lotteries or camp-out events, and even then, demand far outpaces supply. The intrigue comes from its origin story. Buffalo Trace distillate shipped east and aged in Virginia's cooler warehouses. That twist in climate means a different maturation curve, and fans argue it delivers a deeper, richer profile than its Kentucky siblings. Batch 4 clocks in from 117 to 130 proof, uncut and unfiltered, with a manufacturer-suggested retail price around $100. Tasting notes lean into cherry cola, antique leather, pipe tobacco, and a finish that seems to hang on for minutes. While the bottle has not swept the 2025 award circuit, its reputation is fueled by word of mouth and the Buffalo Trace connection. Enter the lottery if you can, but know what you are hunting. This is a bottle where provenance and scarcity drive the chase as much as the liquid itself. Russell's Reserve 13-year has always been a favorite among fans of classic Kentucky bourbon, but the 2025 batches are rewriting expectations. This year's release leans into a sweeter, almost nostalgic profile, often described as dusty funk. Unlike previous years when heavy oak and tannin dominated, these bottles offer caramel corn, honeyed vanilla, and a gentle earthiness that lingers. The non-chill filtered process keeps all the character in the glass, delivering a richer mouthfeel and deeper flavors. For those chasing age statements, the 13-year mark is hard to beat, especially when you consider that these bottles are now showing up more often on shelves thanks to a quiet increase in distribution. Still, they do not last long at retail. The smart move is to grab the 2025 label if you see it priced under $180. At that level, it stands as the best value in high-age, non-chill filtered bourbon from a Kentucky heritage brand. With the flavor profile shifting sweeter and the bottle becoming just a bit easier to find, Russell's Reserve 13-year 2025 is the definition of a must-buy before the next wave of collectors catches on. Number 7 brings a wild card from Indiana, a bourbon quietly outpacing legacy brands in blind tastings. Starlight Mizunara Reserve Finished Bourbon comes from Huber's Starlight Distillery, a craft producer with a reputation for pushing boundaries. The secret is in the finishing barrels. These are rare Japanese Mizunara oak barrels, a wood so scarce that a single cask can cost thousands of dollars. Mizunara's influence is unmistakable. Instead of the caramel and vanilla you expect, The nose opens with sandalwood, coconut, and a trace of incense. On the palate, layers of baking spice and subtle fruit ride alongside a creamy texture that is almost impossible to find in mainstream Kentucky releases. This is not just a novelty finish. Mizunara's unique chemistry imparts flavors that cannot be replicated by American oak, giving the bourbon an exotic, almost ethereal quality. Distribution remains tight, mostly limited to the Midwest, and bottles rarely make it to national chains. For many, hunting Starlight means road trips or calling in favors from friends in Indiana or Ohio. While it has not claimed a major 2025 competition crown, its reputation among enthusiasts and craft whiskey judges continues to grow. If you are looking for a bourbon that stands out in a sea of familiar flavors, and you want something with genuine scarcity, Starlight Mizunara Reserve should be at the top of your list. Maker's Mark Cellar. Age 2025 represents a turning point for wheated bourbon, blending barrels aged 12 years and 13 years, an age range rarely seen from Loretto. The result is a whiskey that challenges expectations about how long wheat-based bourbon can mature without losing its character. Instead of turning bitter or thin, the extra years in the rickhouse have coaxed out deep flavors: dark fruit, heavy vanilla bean, and a cake batter sweetness layered over seasoned oak. This is not the soft, easy Maker's Mark of old. It is dense, complex, and built for slow sipping. But this bottle comes with a warning. Secondary market flippers have already zeroed in, driving prices up well past what most would consider reasonable. At retail, Cellar Aged still hovers below $250, but the moment it lands on shelves, it is often swept up by buyers looking to resell. For collectors and enthusiasts, the smart move is to set a hard ceiling. Do not pay more than $250. The whiskey inside justifies the chase, but feeding the hype machine only encourages more scarcity and higher prices. As the wood finishing series fades from the spotlight, Cellar Aged stands as the new benchmark from Maker's Mark, offering a rare chance to experience what patient aging can do for a wheated mash bill. If you find it at retail, grab it. If not, wait. Overpaying only fuels the frenzy. Booker's The Reserve's 2025 stands out as the boldest move from Jim Beam's flagship line in years. For the first time, Booker's is finished in tequila barrels, casks that once held Booker's 30th anniversary bourbon and were later used to age El Tesoro's 85th anniversary tequila in Mexico. After a journey south of the border, these barrels returned to Kentucky to finish a bourbon aged 8 years, 10 months, and 11 days. The result is a whiskey that blends tradition with a shot of innovation. Classic Booker's intensity at 123.3 proof is layered with a subtle agave lift and citrusy brightness that does not overpower the familiar caramel, charred oak, and roasted peanut core. This is not just a tweak to the formula. It is the first time Beam has released any Booker's with a finish, and the first tequila-finished bourbon in the company's history. The move signals a willingness to experiment, even on a brand built on unfiltered, barrel-proof, straight bourbon. Collectors and fans have taken notice. With a suggested retail price around $130 and a limited nationwide release, bottles are already drawing attention as a one-time chapter in the Booker story. For anyone who has chased the standard batches for years, the Reserve's 2025 offers a new flavor experience and a rare chance to own a piece of Beam's ongoing evolution before it disappears into the hands of collectors. Still Austin Bottled in Bond Blue Corn, the winter release, is rewriting the playbook for Texas bourbon. Instead of sticking to the usual Kentucky grain bills, Still Austin leans hard into regional identity by building its mash with 26% blue corn, a grain that brings a distinct earthy sweetness and a wave of dark chocolate and blueberry notes. The rest of the recipe is classic Texas, but that blue corn is the secret weapon. It is not just a flavor twist. It is a statement that Texas grain can stand out on the national stage. Aging under the Texas sun is no small feat, but this bottle carries a minimum of 6 years in barrel and meets every strict rule of the Bottled-in Bond Act. That means it is distilled by one producer, in one season, aged at least 4 years, and bottled at 100 proof. For a craft distillery, clearing that bar with a blue corn mash is a technical and creative flex. The result is a whiskey that feels both grounded and vibrant, with a savory funk and depth that sets it apart from anything coming out of Kentucky. Collectors have caught on fast, thanks in part to the Order of Nancy series. Each winter drop arrives with new eye-catching label art that turns every release into a collectible. Scarcity is real. This winter batch is a seasonal, small volume drop, and most bottles do not leave Texas or the surrounding states. For hunters looking to break out of the Kentucky echo chamber, still Austin, Bottled-in Bond Blue. Corn is the bottle that proves regional innovation is not just possible, it is already here. Ben Holladay Soft Red Wheat Rickhouse Proof is the bottle that is turning Missouri into a serious contender on the national bourbon map. This is not just a regional curiosity. It is the whiskey that is beating Kentucky's biggest names in blind tastings, and it earned double platinum at the 2025 Ascot Awards. The secret is the Rickhouse Proof single barrels, each one bottled straight from the warehouse with no dilution and no shortcuts. At more than 6 years old and bottled in bond, this bourbon delivers a profile that is both classic and fresh, with butterscotch, baking spice, and a rich, oily texture that rivals bottles twice its age and price. What sets Ben Holladay apart is the way it handles maturity. Missouri's climate, with its wild temperature swings, pushes the whiskey deep into the oak and coaxes out flavors that feel layered and developed. The soft red wheat in the mash bill brings a creamy sweetness and a gentle spice, making each sip feel lush and rounded. This is a wheated bourbon that stands up to Weller and Makers, but with a distinctive edge, more robust, more savory, and unmistakably its own. Right now, this bottle is still hiding in plain sight. Most stores treat it like just another craft label, stocking it on the shelf instead of locking it behind glass. But the word is spreading fast, especially after the Ascot win and a string of blind tasting upsets. Once the secondary market catches on, prices and scarcity will follow. If you want to experience what non-Kentucky bourbon can deliver at its best, Ben Holladay Soft Red Wheat Rickhouse Proof is the bottle to hunt before the hype takes over. Larceny Barrel Proof Batch B525 stands out as the tactical buy of 2025 for anyone serious about high-proof wheated bourbon. The secret isn't just in the label, it's in the batch code. Heaven Hill releases 3 Larceny Barrel Proof batches each year, and the code tells you exactly what you're getting. B525 breaks down this way. B means the second batch of the year. The first 5 means May. The 25 means 2025. Spotting that code on the neck label is the difference between grabbing a legendary bottle and settling for an average one. This batch clocks in at 117.4 proof, the lowest of the recent releases, and carries a 6 to 8 year age statement. That lower proof does not mean it lacks punch. Instead, it delivers a rich dessert-like profile that is turning heads, fig jam, maple syrup, hazelnut, and a wave of cinnamon that lingers. Unlike some earlier releases that brought heat and ethanol, B525 is all about balance. The wheat in the mash bill smooths out the edges, letting those sweet and nutty notes shine through. What makes B525 a must-hunt is the value. At a suggested retail price of around $65, you're getting a barrel-proof wheater that competes with bottles 3 or 4 times the price. With the secondary market already sniffing around, a bottle at retail is a win. Don't just grab any Larceny barrel proof, check the code carefully. The B525 batch is already being called the honey barrel of the year by collectors and reviewers, and once word spreads, it won't last. For anyone looking to build a collection or just enjoy a pour that punches above its price, this is the batch to target. Precision matters, read the code, do the math, and don't let this one slip through your fingers. Green River, Kentucky. Straight. Wheated bourbon sits quietly on store shelves, priced around $35, but in 2025, it stunned the whiskey world. At the New York World Spirits Competition, a panel of industry veterans, buyers, bartenders, and critics judged hundreds of bourbons blind. When the results were revealed, Green River took home both Best Overall Bourbon and Best Wheated Bourbon. No fancy bottle, no cult following, just a label most people walk past without a second glance. Yet in a lineup that included rare and ultra-premium bottles, this everyday pour outperformed competitors costing 3 or 4 times as much. The judges described a profile that is both inviting and refined. Honey and soft peach lead the nose, followed by floral vanilla and a gentle, warming oak. Each sip lands with a creamy sweetness, rounded by subtle grain and a hint of barrel spice. The finish lingers, never harsh, always balanced. This is not a bottle that needs a sales pitch or a secondary market hype train. The flavor speaks for itself, and the price makes it almost unbelievable. Green River's story adds another layer to the urgency. The distillery's distilled spirits plant number is one of Kentucky's oldest, dating back to the pre-Prohibition era. After decades of dormancy and near disappearance, the brand was revived with a focus on classic wheated mash bills and honest, affordable whiskey. The 2025 New York World Spirits Competition win did not just crown a new champion. It signaled a return to form for Kentucky bourbon's heritage. Right now, Green River Wheated is still a shelf-sitter in many states. But with dual top honors and a price that undercuts every so-called unicorn, the window is closing fast. Once word spreads, allocation and price hikes are inevitable. For anyone who trusts the glass over the hype, this is the bottle to buy by the case before it disappears into the hands of flippers and collectors. The smart money is not chasing the old names. It is grabbing Green River while it is still hiding in plain sight. Across all 10 bourbons, one pattern stands out. Scarcity is shifting from big brands to sleeper hits, craft outliers, and batch-specific gems. The real battleground is not hype. It is knowing which bottles quietly become tomorrow's unicorns. In the new bourbon landscape, smart money spots the next allocation wave early. The hunt rewards those who pay attention, not just those who chase the loudest name. Which bottle are you hunting next?